Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Jeez, my voice is weird. How you doing? It's Sunday Comics, and we are here talking about X-Men 135. Look at that cover. Oh man, tell me you didn't get excited when you saw that in the comic store. Oh man, that is a great cover by John Byrne, Terry Austin. Great use of green. Perfect example of you don't need to go all detailed in the backgrounds to make a good image. Look at that. This must have been homaged many times. If anybody could think of any homages in let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me drink some coffee. I stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night organizing comics, and I'm sleepy. Come on, coffee, activate. You'll see when the coffee activates. I hate when my beard is pointy. I want my beard to be full beard, not a pointy beard. There we go. All right, so how's everybody? This is X-Men 135. Let's check out the comments. We got PB. I found your channel last summer, I think. You said Friday night we disagree on almost everything. That's news to me. I could take a hint, though. I don't know what to say. I don't even remember what I said. I say so many things, but what's the hint? I think I said this we agree on 100%. I think I was just exaggerating for comedy purposes. I don't even remember what I said. Heroic Tales 2 is still available on Fund My Comic. You could get issue 1, you could get issue 2, and you could get a whole bunch of merch. Just check it out. Even if you bought the comic, you could go back and buy some swag if you so choose. Please do. I got boxes of this stuff sitting over here. We got Zactan. Hope you're having a blessed day. I am having a blessed day. I woke up. I'm sleepy, though. I got to wake up. I only got up like a half hour ago. I have to go to bed at 4. Come on, coffee, activate. Activate, coffee. We got Marcus Kellegrew saying hello. How you doing? Great cover, but she jumped the crazy hot ratio. Yep. Yeah, well, she is hot. Is she hot enough to forgive for trying to murder and destroy planets? We'll find out. We know the answer. And Marcus and Zactan are saying hello to each other. Oh, man. Just a rough wake up today. So, filibuster a minute or two. So last night I did a last minute decision to do Avengers Assemble at what was it, like 10 o'clock last night? Still had a bunch of people watching. I'm pretty impressed that many people showed up. So thankful for that. I just didn't want to go because I didn't do it last week because I worked all weekend. And I wanted to get that comic away, put away. It's been sitting out here for too long. But that super villain team up number 9 that I did last night was a perfect example of just a flawed comic. Just a flawed comic. I have an emotional attachment to that series super villain team up, but it just seemed like it was like a patchwork comic. Like there was really no reason. I mean, Marvel Team Up has a lot of just no reason for these heroes to team up. But that one, I don't know. It just seemed like it was like an editorial decree rather than like the passion of a writer. Because Marvel Team Up had a lot of good runs. It had a lot of bad runs. Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing. It had a lot of good short bursts of runs, but overall it just was like forced. These guys are together. Let's have an adventure. Some of them are really bad, but some of them a lot of fun. I'm rambling. Come on, coffee, activate. All right, so we got Jean Grey on the cover. She's Dark Phoenix now. She just transformed in the last couple of panels, last issue. I noticed that Colossus here has he's a little bit more massive than John Byrne normally draws him. John Byrne usually draws Colossus slim. I kind of like he has this thick trunk over here. It makes him look more powerful. Where are they? Are they floating? Doesn't matter. That's just a great cover. And wouldn't it have been cool to see the Dark Phoenix movie to just do this cover, but with live action people? That would have been awesome. All right, let's open it up. Oh, I need more light, right? I need more light. Let's get more light. Even if my face glows, who cares? It's about the comic. It's not about my face. So let's open it up. Yes, this is 1980. This was my copy that I got. Look at this. And just, I don't want to touch this. Marcus, do you know why some of them are square and some of them are diamond? Is it because it was like diamond distributors and other distributors? I don't really know, but like, you know, this corner up here, some of them were square and some of them were diamond shaped. I recall hearing years ago that it was, you know, it was showed where which company distributed the comics, but I don't remember. I don't remember. So here we got the first page. We got the saga of Johnny West. That's funny. That's funny because there's a character. I hope I get around to telling his story. Actually, I wrote a script called A Trick Before Dying that has him in it, but there's Johnny West is the name of a character. And I did not lift it from this. I didn't even remember this ad, but Johnny West, he is like an old cowboy movie star turned secret agent. You know, so he was a secret agent and played a cowboy on TV. I think the diamond shape was for the direct market, which was just beginning. Oh, okay. Yeah. So then this isn't this must have been one of the comics that disappeared and then I replaced, because I remember distinctly getting this off the newsstand, off a spinner rack. But I don't even know how many years ago, like in the late 90s when I came back from college, I just, you know, and a bunch of my comics were missing. So I had to replace them. So this must have been one of them that I replaced, which explains why it's in such good shape. Because I got this, I didn't go to the direct market back then in 1980. Or did I? I don't remember. I don't know. But okay, so here's the credits. We got Chris Claremont, writer, co-plotter, John Byrne, co-plotter, penciler, Terry Austin, inker, Tom Orzechowski, letterer, Bob Sharon, colorist, Jim Scala. This name I always mess up. Scalacrup is the editor, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. And Witness the Birth of a God. Boom! What a great splash page. What a great splash page. Dark Phoenix. Now I'm curious. Marcus, you're an artist. Did John Byrne do this? Is this the letterer? Is this the inker? The words Dark and Phoenix? Like who does that? Like, you know, if I was to ask for this in a script, who would put the words Dark Phoenix? You know, would Renzo do it? Would the colorist do it? You know, would Bill, the letterer, do it? Because I think, you know, the letterer just puts like sound effects and word balloons. Now, who does this kind of stuff? I would imagine that, you know, John Byrne did the lines. Oh, from this point forward, I finish the page, do the comments, page comments. Okay, so boom. So I think, and if memory serves me well, this is the last time we see this like little shuttle ship, which I appreciate that Byrne like had the internal continuity, which ships look like which ships blew up. I love that kind of stuff. So boom. So remember, they just fought the Hellfire Club. They were flying away in this little shuttle, and ba-boom, it just explodes. This is why you don't corrupt an Eldritch Space Firebird. Exactly. Bird drew that, like Will Eyes. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes the artist will draw the sound effects. Walt Simonson likes to do that. I love Walt Simonson sound effects. Like they're like 19 syllables long. Boom. Oh, man, I struggle with. I realize that I use the same sound effects over and over again, but like everything sounds like a boom or crash. You know, I got to get more creative. How do you spell that? All right, so now we got this. Of course, it's raining out. Her first act, 1,000 feet above Manhattan Central Park, is the seeming destruction of those she loves best in the world, the X-Men. Gee, no. What do you like better, the green Phoenix costume or this red dark Phoenix costume? I don't know. The red and gold, like the deep red, it's so good. Goes great with her red hair, but one of the best costumes. So boom, everything is exploding. So I get the feeling that Jean Grey just telekinetically like attacked the ship rather than, because if she had attacked the X-Men, they all would have been dead. So, boom. Whether that's her subconsciously not wanting to hurt her friends or whatever plot. I'll say that she just blew up the ship because inside she's not, at this point, she's not totally corrupted yet. That otherwise, like, they shouldn't survive, but that's what she does. So I fall from this height will not harm me. In my armored form, I land and I'll catch the others. Or try, so Colossus, he transforms, he knows it's not going to hurt him. And then the little bit of playing with physics, it just intuitive sense. He turns into Colossus, he's heavier, he falls faster. Nope. Physics says that everything falls at the same rate. The only reason some people would hit, like a feather would hit late after a bowling ball is a wind resistance. But in a vacuum, everything would fall at the same time. But Colossus transforms and hits the ground first. Nightcrawler, he teleports. But remember, Storm's the only one who could fly, and she can't carry us all. I'll have to teleport down to crack. So he teleports. Now, this answered a question that I asked earlier, and I was I knew it was kind of answered. So Nightcrawler, he made this big speech in X-Men 95 when he was falling that he can't teleport to save himself because he's going to keep his velocity. The teleportation doesn't nullify the velocity that he's on. So if he's falling at this, like and he teleports, bing, he'll teleport at the same speed. And I asked, could he change the vector? So if he's teleporting like this, could he change the vector so it comes up like this? And that's what he does right now. So he's falling, he teleports, and he changes the vector. Luckily, he wasn't going that fast. I deposit that he was going fast because he was in the ship. You know what I mean? So that's a good question. So if Wolverine, if Nightcrawler is on a train or an airplane and it's flying through the air and he teleports, over there, is he traveling at the speed of the airplane or is he traveling, These are the kind of things you got to ask yourself. So now Storm grabs Wolverine. Storm is stronger than the average girl. You know what I mean? She can carry Wolverine. Wolverine's like 200 pounds. She carried Colossus, in his armored form. That's 700 pounds. Now you could argue and say that the wind is helping her lift it up, but Storm has got to be one fit chick. So Phoenix is going after, is she going after Cyclops? Is she going to save him? I can't afford the risk, but I don't want to hurt Jean. So she sees Cyclops. Jean's going after Cyclops, but she doesn't know what's going on. Is she going to hurt him? Is she going to kill him? So she swoops down, so Wolverine grabs Cyclops. Now she's carrying two people. That's what we'll say that they're 200 pounds apiece. She's carrying 400 pounds. And then she whips up a wind to stop Jean. Excellent storytelling. Look at this. She lands on the ground. We're all alive. Nightcrawler's a little bruised. And now she comes down. Yours was an admirable ploy, Storm, but escaping me won't be that easy. Why are you attacking us? Why? Ask not for the pity from Dark Phoenix, my love. There is none. And now she's swooping down. And I just love the colors. We got that yellow, that pink, the black lines. Oh man, my coffee's empty. And here they all are in one frame. This is just top-notch comics in every sense of the word. Great art, great story, great plotting, great storytelling. Just everything about this. Just perfect. Just perfect. Let's check out the comments. Hey, we got Dave Brink over here. How you doing, Dave? Check out what do you got live right now? You got the Perfect 10 collection on Fund My Comic. You got issue 1 to 6, or you can get the collection. And Safeguard. Is Safeguard live? I forget. There's so many stuff. I just emailed the Rippaverse because I ordered a couple of books, but I don't have. I must have deleted the receipts, so I don't know if I ordered them or if I thought I ordered them. So I just emailed them, like the Chuck Dixon Seven Deadly Sinners, the New Horseman, and I think it was Zayland. I ordered. So I'm just curious, like, did I order it? Did I think I ordered it? Same with Genuine Comics. Did I order Safeguard, or is it not ready yet? I order so much and I forget. I should write things down, but that would be smart, and I don't claim to be smart. I like the green and gold, but Holy Continuity Nightmare teleported Flat Crash, which should have killed. Yes, I was just talking about that. He changed the vector, so they were accelerating up. Were they going fast? But they did address it. He teleported and he's still moving. So instead of, which direction was he going? But to me, this shows that Nightcrawler, when he teleports, he could teleport and change the vector of his velocity. Was he going up? So he teleported. He should have gone up in the air or whatever. That's what he should have done. Got up in the air. And then when he's about to reach that point, that split second where it's zero, that's when you teleport again, and then you're fine. But he didn't know that in issue 95. Everybody's saying hello. Storm, subtle secondary superpower, extra human strength. Yeah. Same with Reed Richards. Reed Richards is carrying Ben Grimm around. These guys, they display superhuman strength. Storm always, and you could argue that the wind is supporting them, but then why isn't the rain moving the wrong way? Changing the vector of velocity is important for teleport. Absolutely. Safeguard is in pre-launch. Perfect Collection is no longer in campaign. Okay. You're not going to keep it at like a forever store? I could check for you. Okay. I'm sure I backed Perfect 10. Sign up for Safeguard. There you go. Marcus with the links. There you go. Good job, Marcus. So let's turn the page. Is Brittany here? Is Fox Prowl Comics? How you doing, guys? We got this ad over here. Juggling. Maybe does anybody mind if I go get a cup of coffee? I just need to wake up. So talk amongst yourselves. I need to fill up my coffee cup. The secret to a good cup of coffee is, so over there, I have a microwave, and my coffee, I call it my coffee station. So I pour the coffee over there, I got the sugar, and then I stir it. Then I bring the coffee over here because my refrigerator's right there. And then you pour in half and half while it's still spinning. And it mixes itself. It's like science. Makes the best coffee. Okay, so you say thank you, Marcus. Okay, Kurt changed the vector and hadn't reached too much velocity to kill him on impact. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think that's what Chris Claremont was saying through the panel because he's going sideways, right? Unless he wants to say that the ship was going perfectly in that direction, which it shouldn't be because it should have still been accelerated because it's going over Manhattan. I did sign up for Safeguard. Alec Goldman's. Yeah, this looks so good. It looks so good, Dave. I can't wait. I'm not a fan of characters with specific superpowers also have superhuman strength all the time. Right. Nobody ever says that Storm has superhuman strength, but she's carrying two humans, two fully adult males. One of them is laced with adamantium bones, which hasn't been said yet in the comics. You know what I mean? We know it because this is 30, 40 years ago, but at this point in the comics, it hasn't been established that Wolverine has adamantium bones. It hasn't been established that he has a healing factor yet. All we know about Wolverine is claws, berserker rage, and heightened sense of smell, and reflexes, and endurance, stuff that we've seen, but we haven't seen the bones yet. So yes, she must. I mean, I know they're going to explain it away that the wind was helping them, but the art doesn't support that. After the Dark Phoenix saga, you're going to take a break from the X-Men. I want to go to X-Men 150 around 150. Pretty much the John Byrne, Terry Austin years. Like pretty much when John Byrne leaves, that's where I'm going to stop. And I think I want to do the Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four starting at around 150. Super Coffee Man can control his caffeinations. I wish. I think even the baseline humans of Marvel DC have some normal durability. Yeah, look at every like John Wick. John Wick has superpowers. Like my wife and I love the John Wick movies. There's just something cathartic about this vigilante taking, and get revenge, especially over the death of a dog. It's just so satisfying that he just wastes everybody. But he has superpowers. Make no bones about it. John Wick is a superhero. He heals faster. He's aware of everything. He has super agility. So when the ballerina came out and you had this 90-pound girl kicking ass, it didn't bother me. I know like a couple other people, like I turned it off when I saw her flip it. She has superpowers. In the John Wick world, they have superpowers. They go through this superpower training, or maybe she survived because she has the superpowers, but the ballerina has superpowers. It's a superhero movie. And I feel justified in saying that because the first time I was watching it, I was at my friend Yoshi's house, and he was like, "You haven't seen John Wick?" So I missed the first John Wick movie because I'm not an action movie guy. And he's like, "Oh, you got to see this." So, everybody, it was my D&D group. So one night we played D&D, and then on Saturday night we went to Yoshi's house to watch movies because he had this awesome setup with speakers in his couch. It was amazing. So we're watching John Wick. And halfway through the movie, I was like, "This is a comic book." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Look at the colors, look at the lighting." So watch the first John Wick movie. I don't know about the other ones, but there's yellow lights, there's red lights, there's green lights, and there's blue lights. It's a comic book. It's 4 colors. And years later, the director said, yeah, he was using comic book lighting. So there you go. Comic book lighting. He's a fan of comic books. John Wick has superpowers. So the ballerina has superpowers. Doesn't bother me. But yeah. Oh, I'm all caught up. I could go past this page. Let me move my coffee. I'm always afraid I'm going to dip the comic book into my coffee cup. So now we got Jean Grey. She's just strafing. I love the light in this. So she swarms down at Colossus and Cyclops, and then Colossus just grabs a tree. And it's real interesting. He grabs this tree over here and he starts pulling, and it shouldn't work, right? It shouldn't work. Only in the comic book. Am I ruining the comic book by being a little bit too logical? Like the way Colossus is, Colossus should be bent down and pulling the tree up, but he's standing up. Like 2 things should happen. The tree should go up a little bit, but remember the roots of a tree are just as deep as the tree is tall. Otherwise the tree would fall over, in a harsh wind. So nothing should happen. Or Colossus goes like this and sends himself into the mud. Remember, it is raining out, and they're in Central Park. You know what I mean? Is the ground that he's standing on strong enough to support a 700-pound man lifting a tree? Now, is that too much realism that I ruin comics? Maybe. But and then she comes over and telekinetically or telepathically turns his power off. You know, so now he's just human. Lenin's ghost. She telekinetically transformed me back into my human self. I'm no longer strong enough to hold the tree. And then what does Wolverine do? Wolverine's going to help his buddy. Hang on, PD. I'll get you out of there. No, you won't, Wolverine. And I love this. Cripes. I love these fake curses. Wolverine. Cripes. Genie turned the tree into solid gold. Must weigh tons. So now, boom. Wolverine and Colossus are trapped. Now, I can't help but think about this. What happened to this gold tree? You know, like, I know in the Secret Wars, was it Secret Wars 2? The Beyonder turned the building into gold. They mentioned it later on that S.H.I.E.L.D. dropped it into the ocean, which I don't buy in a million years. S.H.I.E.L.D. would take it up, divide it up, hide it, you know, and use it for top secret, whatever. But what happened to this gold tree? You know, if you better believe that if I was to write the X-Men or any Marvel comic, I would reference this, you know, like a couple of joggers in the middle of the night, or, you know, first responders just started breaking off pieces, you know, because I don't think she turned it back into tree later on. So now Storm is trying to reason with them. We're your friends. We're trying to help. It's too late for help or for me or the universe. Dark Phoenix has no friends. She was like this when she saved the universe, but her power was tempted by joy and love. There's no joy, no love in Dark Phoenix. I sense great sadness and awful, all-consuming lust. So now, you know, I didn't pick up on that as a kid, you know, the last time, but she is unchecked emotion right now. She's rage, she's lust, you know. Or take your best shot. So she hits her with lightning, because I would rather end this quick. For all your skill and power, Aurora, you haven't a prayer against me. I could pick your mind clean in the blink of an eye. Know your plans the moment you think of them. My power defies comprehension. So what does she do now? So Storm fires a lightning bolt. Jean just telekinetically disperses the lightning bolt. And then what does she hit her with? Does she send the lightning back? It's not really sure. Or does she just telekinetically zap her? Does she psionically zap her with mental blast? I don't know. But what all that matters is she takes out Storm. You know, and then Storm, images hitting me through this psychic rapport I share with Jean. Black flames consuming her soul. Mystical illusions I don't understand. Lost, drowning, alone. Cyclops, we're the only ones left. What can we do? Not a thing, Nightcrawler. And she hits them 100 different ways at once. I love this. I've always loved when I used to call this, again, every time I see that I used to call that the John Byrne effect. And then later on, I realized it was the Neil Adams effect, you know, because again, at this point, when this comic came out, I don't even think I knew who Neil Adams was. You know, I started collecting X-Men with 119. The first X-Men I got was 114. Well past the Neil Adams years. So, and then when I started to see Neil Adams, I was like, this guy's ripping off John Byrne. It's funny. It's funny. I didn't want this, my dear ones, and yet it was something I had to do. By striking it down, I cut myself free of the last ties binding me of the person I was, the life I led. You know. So she just lands. And yet, you and I are quits now. You and I are quits now. X-Men, our paths will cross no more. My destiny lies in the stars. Look at that. That's such a famous panel right there. Did anybody see the movie? What's her name from Game of Thrones? I saw it was terrible. I didn't watch it, but is it worth watching just for shits and giggles? So, like, you know, you got to ham it up. You know what I mean? And I don't think that actress, with Sansa Stark, I don't think she has the range to. This is supposed to be like unbridled joy and lust, and reveling in her powers. You know what I mean? It's like you got to overact. And I don't think that woman has any acting range whatsoever. She's pretty to look at. But I love that panel. I got to sneeze. Where are we? Oh, wow, a lot of comments. Okay, Zach Ted says, yes, John Wick having superpowers makes sense. Some have argued Speed Racer is also a superhero. Like, I didn't see Speed Racer. I heard it was really good. Heard it was good. I got to check that out. I don't watch a lot of movies. Whenever I got free time to watch a movie, I read a comic. I felt that way about Quake in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She would beat up a bunch of guys and she's 5'2". I just felt she had superpowers. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, once you cross into superpowers, you got you got superpowers. Yeah, that's the way to explain it. Love trees, but the roots can cause problems. I'm a little too logical. Yeah. The Soviets swearing on communism saints. I know. You replace humans are hardwired for religion. Do you rage hate the actress that's going to play Supergirl in the upcoming movie? I'm not, but I have a huge crush on the previous actress who played. Yeah, she was cute and she was perfect. The actress, when I saw her, when I show up for the first time while watching I thought she was perfectly cast. She's got that wholesome, out of Nebraska look, but the way they're portraying the character is not that woman's fault. The drunky frat girl or sorority girl, that I don't like. Supergirl is supposed to be wholesome, sweet, and nice, which is why they did Power Girl as the buxom, flirty, bad girl response. And that's what they should do. Oh, man, DC, you're killing yourselves. You're killing yourselves. You got it. You cast her. You make her sweet, saccharine, nice. And then in the sequel, you have Sydney Sweeney showing up. Dude, what's wrong with you? Sydney Sweeney is Power Girl. And she's the bad girl, the flirty girl. And boom. What is wrong with you guys? I'm a moron and I can think of this stuff. That's because I actually like the comics. Well, there's a pretty good chance that Chris Claremont is a commie. I've never met him. I heard you don't want to meet him. And let's turn the page. We got this ad over here. I remember as a kid, I always was like, who's this naked chick? Who's this naked chick? Where is she from? Why is there a naked chick? And of course, Conan's grabbing the naked chick. This Bubble Yum ad, I don't know. Just always hated it. And now, cut back to the aftermath of the Hellfire Club. I don't know if this is like a photograph that John Byrne drew over, or if it's just reference, but it's just, and it's the same. The Hellfire Club looks consistent with the way Byrne drew it the last couple of issues. So what's going on now? The X-Men are wanted criminals at this point. The Hellfire Club, they have their Epstein-like influence with the police. And I'm going to say that they don't even need to use that kind of stuff. It looks bad for the X-Men. A bunch of people are just having a party, dancing around, the X-Men attack. Harry Leland is being taken away in the ambulance. He's not in a body bag, which implies that he's still alive. And then what do we got here? Senator Kelly. Sebastian, I'm sorry about Leland. Thank you. That's very kind. So they still didn't say he was dead. He's not in a body bag. So he's still alive as far as I'm concerned. So here we got Senator Kelly. They're just flawlessly going into the next story. Just flawlessly. They're setting up why Senator Kelly doesn't like mutants. And he's not a villain. From his eyes, it all makes sense. Senator Kelly is still a good guy at this point. And I also like, they never told us if he's a Republican or a Democrat. They never, you know what I mean? As of right now, Senator Kelly did nothing wrong. I know we're supposed to think he's a bigot and everything like that, but if you're at a party and all of a sudden the X-Men just attack and start killing everybody, that shows you how good the Hellfire Club's manipulation is. Plus, one of the guys has the power of illusions, and Emma Frost has the telekinetic manipulation. We searched the club. There's no signs of the muties. Obviously, Captain, because the X-Men are no longer inside the building. Mr. Shaw saw them running towards Central Park. I suggest you show some initiative, get your people in there after them before they get away. With all due respect, Senator, we're way out of our league here. We aren't equipped to fight superpowered mutants. Tackling the X-Men would be suicide. You want results? Call the Avengers, Fantastic Four, or S.H.I.E.L.D. By all means, do so, Captain. There, however, is another alternative. A bit of long turbine would you to deal with the mutant menace, and by the same way, completely questionably under federal government. What's that? Sentinels. Dun, dun, dun. The X-Men is just synonymous with Sentinels these days. Sentinels. You can't go 3 panels without seeing a Sentinel. But when was the last time the Sentinels were shown? Issue 96? Issue 96, and now here we are at 135. See? Perfect. It's not overdone. And now we're getting the beginnings of my persecution. There's something happening in the park. Look. Lightning bolt as bright as the sun itself. What's causing it? Storm's a weather witch. This is her kind of stunt, but what's the point? The bolts are building in its essence. Phoenix. Saints preserve us. Bum, bum, bum. And I love this. Can you see this down here? No, you can't. It shows you how small they are. Phoenix is rising. Sebastian Shaw's like, uh-oh. And as far as I'm concerned, we got to deal with these mutants. Oh, muties. Yeah, they're the bad guys. And then you got Phoenix. This is what she's capable of. And then, you know what I mean? Just maybe mutants are a problem. Just a little bit. Can we admit that there's a problem with the mutants? Agreed. Supergirl should be sweet, played by maybe a bit sassier than Superman, but Power Girl is the more aggressive character. Yep. Mutant or not may commit more crimes, but the crimes are usually on well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Mutant may or may not commit more crimes, but the crimes are usually on a larger scale. Yeah, Saints preserve us. That's a Claremontism. Yeah. It sure is. Cripes. True. You know what I mean? Like, look at it this way. You're born with a gun in your hand. We all agree, but you know what I mean? All the liberals agree that guns need to be registered. They're dangerous. But like, he was born with the gun. So he can walk around with the gun. Just walk. He can have the gun. He was born with it. That's what Cyclops is. He's a guy born with a gun in his eyes. And he can't control the gun in his eyes. So, but he was born that way. And I still postulate that the X-Men should be a horror comic. Let's turn the page. Oh no, ads. We got strong arms over here. You can tell the coffee's kicking in finally. Thank you for letting me get more coffee. This was awesome. Anybody see the Black Hole movie? I freaking love the Black Hole movie. It's a flawed movie. The tone is all over us. The tone is all over the place. Is it a children's movie? Is it a horror movie? It's a children's horror movies in space. And you got Bob, the goofy, silly, cutie pie little robot, and then you got Maximilian, the Satan in space, ripping people's hearts out. It is, I really think I would like to see if anybody made a documentary on this movie. It's a fascinating movie. It's such great special effects. I loved it with an ambiguous ending. Really is a good movie. I reckon, but they tried to sell it as like a children's movie, because it was a Disney film. But Disney had this little weird period where they made things that weren't necessarily like kid movies. Like this, I think kids today would be traumatized, but that's back then. This is what kid movies were. Check it out if you haven't seen it. They said she could only read minds, but now she can destroy the universe. What the heck? We try to be merciful, and this is what happens. Cyclops born with a gun in his eyes. He's going to shoot the sunrise. Only good thing out of this movie is Vincent. There you go, Vincent. You didn't. I love the bad guy's name, the Doctor, Dr. Reinhardt. Maximilian. That is a great robot. This ship, I forget the name of it. It is just this ship has stuck with me for years. I forget who. One of my friends described it as it was a cathedral in space with all the windows and the lighting, and that's always stuck with me to the point. Even in my role playing games, there's a race that their ships are they basically like cathedrals that fly through space. I would like to get a story in the comics someday that shows that. I don't know. I just love this movie, but I admit it's flawed. It's serious. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but I will say it's a flawed movie. So. And how you doing, Stippling? Haven't seen you in a long time. How's everything? You all settled in? Good to see you, Stippling. I was worried, not worried about, just wondering how you're doing. And I love this. So now, boom, we got a little bit of continuity going on over here. So we got the Fantastic Four. Sheesh, Stretcho. I was getting all nice and lathered up when you had to go hit the red alert. What happened, Reed? Galactus stomp on Yancey Street or something? This is serious, Ben. I'm registering an energy reading of unbelievable proportions with someone whose power could rival that of Galactus. So then we got Spider-Man, that Firebird image. The moment it appeared, my spider senses went crazy. I just love Bird drawing all these other characters. And then in Greenwich Village by Hogarth. I sense images of great mystic power, great passion, great evil. But what's the meaning? What meaning do they have of Doctor Strange? I love he talks to himself in the third person. Wouldn't Vincent Price been an awesome Doctor Strange? Oh, man. Wow. If only. And on the edge of space. Can it be? I sense a kindred soul, a child of the stars, so like the Silver Surfer, and yet not like me at all. She is human, flawed, and that flaw bids fair to destroy her. I must aid her if I can. So we got Silver Surfer. The only thing absent the Avengers. Remember, Beast erased the image, the call from the Hellfire Club, and then went to go help. And now we got Dark Phoenix just flying. And I love this. Just the way they draw her in this unnatural pose. She's being lifted telekinetically. It's almost like she's being telekinetically lifted by her neck. It's just, just great acting that John Byrne put into this. Just so good. And she's like a comet just taken off. She bids farewell to her homeworld and just. And I love this wake of smoke and fire. Hey, that Firebird image I saw, that was Jean's Phoenix effect. And beneath it, the park's on fire. Better get down there fast. So Beast is landing in a Quinjet. Before the Phoenix effect appeared, a full-fledged gale was raging over the city. Now it's disappeared. The ground charge. I love this. He's just explaining what we see. The ground, that's such Claremont. The storytelling is perfect. No need to over-explain, but it's Claremont, so it's over-explaining. The fire must have exploded up and out, igniting the treetops while leaving Central area relatively untouched. But the X-Men are all right. Scott, it's Hank. I hear you, buddy. See the others. Got that solid gold tree. Should solve New York's fiscal crisis for sure. Storm, Aurora. My lungs clogged, difficult to breathe. Don't look down. I think I could. Oof. Move it, you two. I'm not holding it all night. Now, let me know if anybody knows. Did the Hellfire Club grab this tree? And so, you know what I mean? That would be awesome. That would be awesome little plot that Sebastian Shaw sent somebody to investigate. There's a solid gold tree, and then what do? They reroute the cops. They reroute everybody. They order the police to no, nobody can come here. Nobody come. It's dangerous. And then the Hellfire Club comes out to him, cuts up this tree and takes the gold. There you go. Until I hear otherwise, that's what happened. Soda Jerk Classic says, I have not rewatched The Black Hole in quite some time. Check it out. Let me know. movie expectation was Star Wars, but what I saw was cheap Star Trek. Yeah. Like I said, it's flawed. And I think the studio sabotaged itself because they didn't commit to the bit. They should have made it full on horror, or they should have made it a kids movie. Instead, they got some weird amalgamation of both. You know, its tone was all over the place. Jack Kirby drew the Black Hole Sunday strip for Disney. I didn't know that existed. I got to check that out. Jean Grey eats Galactus. Yeah, that was the fight we never got to see, right? Or maybe we did in modern times and I missed it. In which case, I don't care. Let's turn the page. So, anyway, Psych, instead of sounding an Avengers alert when I heard the police call about the X-Men, I erased the tape and came to see if I could help. I guess once an X-Men, always an X-Men. Hank's hiding it well, but that choice is tearing him apart. He loves being an Avenger. Hope we can make it up to him. Yeah. And then we cut to Warren Worthington's house over in New Mexico. You know, I felt a tremendous burst of psionic energy, Myra, as if someone had triggered a giant psychic H-bomb. I can confirm what you suspect. The source was Jean. I think Phoenix is out of control. So I love this. All the X-Men are getting together, talking about it. They tied, you know, all the continuity of the world. It shows you the scope of Phoenix. Like, we had to address the Fantastic Four. We had to address Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer. And we know that the Avengers are just sleeping in Avengers Mansion because Beast erased the message, you know. And Myra, she's got her superhero suit on, even though she's not a superhero. Over the past few hours, my remote scans show Phoenix's power increasing along a geometric curve with no end in sight. She already dwarfs any mutant we've already charted. Myra sounds terrifying, and I've never seen the professor like this. Not so much scared as haunted. So, you know, we got Banshee over here being a good little servant. Got this crockery for Myra. I've always loved this angel costume, so cool. And Xavier just like, oh my God, you know, if only I was there, blah, blah, blah. As much as Stippling Vaughn hates Cyclops, well, maybe I don't hate Xavier as much as Stippling hates Cyclops, but I never liked Xavier. Always thought he was just a creep, you know. So now we got crazy Jean Grey just flying through space, flying towards the sun. And this is just another nod to continuity that I love. So Dr. Corbeau, who he was created in the X-Men by Chris Claremont, and then I think he was created Marvel Team Up. I'm probably wrong. He was in the Hulk. He's just one of those side characters that shows up every once in a while. And you'll see him in the Avengers that I want to do for Avengers Assembly. I just love these little side characters. Like Hydro Base, you know, the floating island that I just showed in the comic last night. And now we got Star Core 1. It's a satellite that orbits the sun. And we got all the people there. You know, just little side you know, just these characters don't have like at this point, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, like they don't have their own series, but they're in the peripherals of Marvel Comics. I just love all of that little nods to continuity. So now she uses the slingshot, so she goes to the sun, goes around it, and the gravity hurls her faster. So now she's already past Jupiter. Boom, you know, it's just so cool. Finding what happened to the Gold Tree could lead to a new series called Explanations, where they find out and explain events through the years. That's funny. Explanations. Yeah, explaining all of the continuity errors and everything. Instead of the Watcher, it's like the Peeper. I will explain everything. That's funny. Like the Damage Control come and take the gold, and that's, you know, set up their budget. I think the Hellfire Club is the most logical explanation. You know, they were already on the ball. They already knew they were going to Central Park. Yep. Oh, we got one comment under the gun. Stippling Vaughn. Xavier was a lazy guy to me. Alerts you of the threat, lets the team take care of it. Takes credit at the end. I didn't fault him for not fighting. The guy was crippled, but he just seemed like half the time he was the problem. You know what I mean? At this point, he was just the grouchy guy who showed up. Because again, I started collecting in 119. Xavier was already out of the picture. And then he shows up, and they didn't do him any justice. They had him ordering Wolverine around and bossing everybody around. You know what I mean? And he just seemed like a a boss that just comes back from vacation and like everybody's functioning, everything, and he just starts ordering everybody around because he just wants to be the boss. You know, that's and then later on you find out that he turns into Onslaught, and then he turned into the entity in the Micronauts. You know, half the time Xavier was the problem, and then you find out that he's like in his 40s lusting after Jean Grey when she was 16 years old. You know, just a creep. Just a creep. And half the time he's using his powers on humans to get what he wants anyway. I just never liked him. I'm biased against like mental powers. I have a mental powered, telepathic guy, and telepathy is his only power, and he's not crippled, and it's funny because in my role-playing game I named him Nexus because he was a Nexus. He was the one that all he did was he was a non-player character, and all he did was act as like a mental switchboard for everybody. And he had a machine that would boost his range like over the entire United States. So he was like the guy in the chair, and he was a Nexus. But obviously I can't use that name when I put him in the comp. So I got a new name for him that I'm not going to mention. But since I like weaknesses, his weakness is he can't turn off his telepathy. So he's going nuts. He's absolutely going crazy. And he hates his power. He constant headaches, hearing everybody's thoughts and everything like that. So they develop a drug that he injects himself with to numb his telepathy. It turns off his telepathy. The problem is he's now addicted to it. And when the need arises that he needs his mental powers, he's got to take another drug to counteract this guy's a mess. This guy's a mess. I like him more than I like Xavier because he's a good guy struggling with an unfortunate power. You know, sometimes he doesn't know which thoughts are his and which thoughts are other people. You know, he's like borderline schizophrenic. What's up with Morrison creating an evil female version of Xavier? What's that all about? Cassandra, yeah, it was I don't know the particulars. I have those comics, but the problem with those comics for me is I bid on back around when those comics were coming out. I was big into eBay. I was buying full runs of comics, just, and it was a full long box, and I bid on it. I've always been this way on eBay. I make a bid and then I forget about it. I don't play that sniping game. If I win it, I win it. Like, okay, this is what I want to pay. That's all I'm willing to pay. You know, but oh, wow, I won. And I got a long box. They taped it up, put the stickers on the long box. The long box was shipped to me of all of those Grant Morrison, whatever, X-Men. And so I just read them. Like, and I don't have memory of them. Whenever I binge read or binge watch, I don't seem to remember it when I take my time and savor it. You know, like these panels are burnt into my memory. But that whole Grant Morrison run, I read them all, but I couldn't tell you anything about them. Let's turn the page. Boom. Oh, wow. Rom. Bill Mantlo. So Bill Mantlo wrote the comic last night, and I just wasn't happy with that issue. But Bill Mantlo, you know, he has highs and he has lows, and his highs are very high and his lows are very low. Look at that. Sal Buscema artwork. Every time I see this ad, I just have to remind myself, and I say that out loud because when a thought enters my mind, it comes out of my mouth. I'm turning into my father that way. This comic is so much better than it had any right to be. It was a great comic based on a lousy toy. And I know Brian Bauer, if you're watching this, he's furiously typing right now. He loved his ROM toy as a kid. I never had one. My friend Sean had one, and it didn't really. I called it the in-action figure, but whatever. So now we got look at this. Look at this. So we got this gate sheet. Seconds later, well, it's her and her journey's only begun. With ridiculously terrifying ease, she creates a stargate, and this personal space-time hurls her instantly out of the Milky Way and into a galaxy far, far away. So I love that. Which begs the question, if she could do that, why did she even bother doing the slingshot effect? In my mind, because I would like to have comics exploring space and things like that, you don't want to create a Stargate close to an inhabited world. The warping space near inhabited worlds can only cause problems. So, the Enterprise would use impulse power till it gets far enough away from a star system, so that when it activates the warp drive, it doesn't have any effects. Blah blah blah. This is my mind. So why would, if Jean Grey could do this and she's destructive, why would she do this when she's beyond Saturn? Why? Because it's cool. Because it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, did she need to charge up to do this? Or is there some sort of lingering compassion for humanity in her mind? Like, I don't want to, and is this why she didn't destroy the sun? So it says here, transition took more power out of me than I anticipated. My power is considerable and growing, but for the moment, it's still finite. Like it or not, and I still have limits. I'm ravenous. Before I go, I need sustenance. So, okay, that answers my question. She didn't destroy the sun because she didn't need to. Maybe she would have if she needed to, but making that Stargate exhausted her. Now, where's she going? She's leaving. She's going to the stars. Did they ever address where she was going? Is she being called someplace? Does she have a reason to be traveling? Why did she make that Stargate? Did she, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff I find, I didn't think about it when I read it, but now I'm thinking about it. Like, where's she going? Is she on a mission? This star should do nice. So without a thought of the consequences, she dives into the heart of a main sequence G-type star, much like our own sun. Normally the star could expect to live for another 6 billion years. In reality, its future could be measured in a matter of minutes, and it's completely consumed by Dark Phoenix. Orbiting the star is a system of 11 planets. The fourth is inhabited by an ancient, peace-loving civilization. On the planetary day side, they see the light flash, the awful light of Armageddon, filling the sky from horizon to horizon, 10 minutes after leaving the murdered star. Many who see the light, it's the last thing they will ever see, are confused and frightened. The very few who realize at once what has happened. Time to curse cruel fate or make peace with their God. Then they all die. So she wipes out this entire planet full of peace-loving, peaceful, sentient beings. They got structures. They got kids who love their mommy. You know what I mean? There we go. Soda Jerk says, my favorite powers are psychic, telepathic, and especially progenitive powers. That's one of the reasons why not progenitive, precastination, forecasting powers. That's reason why Destiny is one of my favorite X villains. Yeah, that's tough to write though. I don't have any characters that could make prophecies and stuff like that. Yeah, that is tough to write. But obviously I got a telepathic hero. I already told about my telepathic hero. Poor guy. And I'm trying to think, do I have any telepaths coming up? No. And like, I do have a time traveling hero, and I do have and I have a shape-changing hero or villain. I do have a hero. I don't know if I'm going to tell that story. But that was a whatever. But I do think I have a character who could foresee the future. Well, I do. I have one, but she can only see a couple of seconds in the future, and she uses it to fight. I love this. The Tarantula fighting Spider-Man. Reed Richards fighting Dr. Doom. I love this ad. Precognitive. Yes. The word was clogged in my brain. I couldn't think of the correct word. Progenitive powers means that they have a lot of babies. So now, look at this. So the sun's boom, it just wipes out this planet. Those awake on the night side area are treated to spectacular once-in-a-lifetime aurora borealis before death claims them all. But half the world dies in their sleep. They are the lucky ones. And in the center of the supernova, she created Dark Phoenix thrills the absolute power that is hers. She's in ecstasy. She knows that this is only the beginning, that what she feels now is nothing compared to what she experienced within the great Macran crystal. She craves that ultimate sensation. Okay, so that answers my question. She's going for the Macran crystal. That's where she's going. Okay, it makes sense now. And I love this panel. Oh my God, this is just so good. I love the design of that spaceship. Amazing. Give me tactical. Dabari has just gone supernova. Science officer explains. I have none, my Lord Captain. Dabari was an average G normal star on star Luke. It might flare but not explode. You know what's going on. So we got like, you know, the Shi'ar, Empress Leandra's people. This should not have occurred, you know. And then magnification. That means, you know, it appears to be humanoid. But what kind of creature is that? Sound battle stations. We will engage. Is that wise, my lord? It is necessary. Dabari was an ally of the Empire. Science officer. 5 billion people exterminated by that thing. They must be avenged. So what we got here is a good guy. No different than Captain Kirk. You know what I mean? This just killed. You know, we're under obligation. This is a science vessel, but we just found somebody who destroyed a planet, an ally of ours, peaceful people. We got to do something about it. Law is the law. Just great. Here we got one panel, and then this one page. I'm totally on board. Sympathetic, good guys. See, that's why I like the Shi'ar Empire. They're not really the bad guys, you know. They're complicated. It's real world, you know. Sometimes you got to do nasty things, and that's I have all. It's Clobber Time Friday night. We're talking about alien civilizations. You already know I'm biased towards like the Shi'ar. I've always loved the way the Shi'ar. I love their technology. I love their ships, the way that it's drawn. You know, so you know I'm going to be talking about the Shi'ar Empire. I'll leave it for its Clobber Time Friday night. So let's see. There's a commenter. I'm also enamored by terraforming powers like Ego has. Yeah, that's cool. That there's some powers that are regulated to like bad guys, you know, like Ego's power. He you know, if he was a good guy, he would fix the earth and then there'd be no need for more comics, right? Let's turn the page. Oh no, we got an ad. We got ads. You know, boom. So I love this. She's flying around, they're firing at him. What? A plasma bolt? Someone's shooting at me? Whoever you are, you made a big mistake. Scratch one propulsion nacelle. I've crippled them. Now to mind scan the vessel. Find out it's one of Leandra's grand fleet. The fools. Hurt as they are, they still mean to fight me. If that's what Captain Lord Jupiter wants, however, Dark Phoenix will be more than happy to oblige him. So, you know, we send a message to the Empress. We got to let them know. And then, you know, she's in bed. Empress Leandra, huh? My Lord Chamberlain, what's the matter? Jupiter is one of my finest captains. I've trained him myself. What a coincidence. He's using the Instalink. This must, Arak, tell me something. No more than I already have. All our answers await in the war room. Can you see? We're beaten. No weapons, no power. My crew, mostly dead. The ship is ruined. It's a gutted hulk. The entity is closing. Take my hand, Jupiter, my captain, my friend. I think this is the end. That image. I see it, man. Just where I blind. Farewell, Leandra. Jupiter! Technician, regain contact. Impossible. There's nothing out there for us to contact. The ship is gone. That bird image. I recognized it, old friend, the Phoenix. From what we feared from the beginning and prayed we've never faced has come to the pass. Summon my ministers, Chamberlain. The threat must be dealt with once and for all, no matter what the cost. I love these 2 pages. Oh, my God. So we went from Earth to outer space. Just this is the X-Men at its best. You know, superpowers. Last issue was intrigue and you know, sex club and bondage. And the very next page, interstellar conflict and empires and then back again. It's so good, masterfully done. And you know, and no, to me, the X-Men hit their high point, and it's not my persecution. Nobody's treating us different. You know, we get that's coming. That's coming. You know, we saw that the seeds of that with the Senator Kelly and the Hellfire Club, but it, you know, so good. And I have to say that this whole exchange over here, it inspired an entire, I'm going to say 7 or 8 year role-playing campaign based pretty much on these 2 pages that I would love to bring into Heroic Tales. The problem is I just don't know how to work it in. You know, because there's a whole interstellar politics and wars and stuff going on that the Earth is blissfully ignorant of, yet there's one team that deals with it. And I just don't know how to bring them in because it doesn't matter. But there's a whole intrigue. And just like Leandra, they're an older, this space empire, they're they're not necessarily evil, but they, like the Roman Empire, they can't deal with all this suppression stuff like that, so they're a little bit heavy-handed, and they use super beings, and they understand the nature of super beings. And like I keep saying, you give a normal human superpowers, they eventually go bad. You know, in my world, superpowers, it's like the One Ring. Sooner or later, you succumb to the corruption. You know, Patriarch and a few other superheroes being the exceptions to that. So the government doesn't want people to be super beings. If they do, they clamp down on them. But this space, they've been dealing with super beings for that. They came up with the system of wrangling their super beings. and it literally was all inspired by these 2 pages. That's man, I freaking love this comic. Yeah, Ego is a planet, the living planet from the Black Galaxy. So really, Jean here is a lot worse than Emma. Yeah, which is why Jim Shooter decreed that she had to die. You know, he said if she doesn't die, that it's a bad story. You know, to just all of a sudden reset the status quo. You know, it turned it into one of the best endings, and then bringing her back wasn't the problem. When your name is Phoenix, you're going to come back. You know, they already implied that she resurrected himself once. It's just that they absolved her of all guilt. They put the Phoenix entity, and then that Phoenix entity could take over everybody. Now there's 45,000 Phoenixes. The way they brought her back was just the worst. Just the worst. And how you doing, Michael Hart? Haven't seen you in a while. Let's turn the page. We got Machine Man. We got the Man Thing. Stan's words over here. The checklist. And Thor and the Ricochet monster. Notice it's monster and fruit pies. Brian, if you're watching, monster, fruit pies. Need I say more? Need I say more? Oh, we got another comment. I had an idea for a new Teen Titans character called Terra Kid, who is an interstellar cowboy who has guns, have terraforming effects like mass vegetative growth, limited earth. Oh, cool. Oh, we got another comment. Oh, morning, John. All good. New name. I don't think I've Have you been around for a while? Thank you for popping in. Thank you for commenting. DLSD, cool, new name. Thank you for commenting. Also, is this the first time? Let me know in the chat if this is the first time you've seen this comic. Have you read this comic? Are you familiar with this comic? And if you are familiar with this comic, do you have the floppy or did you read it in a trade paperback? I'm just curious about all that kind of stuff. So now we cut back to Westchester County, good old Earth. Graymalkin Lane, a few miles outside the Westchester County town of Salem Center, near Marcus Kellegrew's sister's coffee shop. And I love that mansion. You know, they draw it pretty consistently. These young mutants have good time and bad times, but all the years since the 10th, they've never had a moment like this. So now they're all just sitting around like, what do we do? We got the Beast and Nightcrawler just mending their wounds. Wolverine's just going to the fridge. Cyclops sitting at the table. We take this very hard if there's only some way to help. Giving up Wolverine, I find that hard to believe. I may be stubborn, Roro, but I ain't stupid. I'm realist. And realistically, Jean trashed this without even raising a sweat. You think a rematch will end any differently? It might, short stuff. Teamwork will help. And I think it can whip up some gadgets that could make the odds a bit equal. That's better than nothing, Fuzzy, huh? Scott, what's wrong? It's Phoenix. I can sense her in my mind through the psionic rapport we share. She's returning to Earth, and she's hungry. Dun, dun, dun! Which makes no sense. Makes no sense. Why is she returning to Earth? She went to the Shi'ar Galaxy. She kind of hinted that she was going for the Macran crystal. There's no reason to come back to Earth. Maybe they'll explain it next issue. See, now I'm being more analytical than just you know, why is she coming back? Why is she hungry? She just ate a star. Make mine mutants. We got the super gifts and gizmos. So I'm, you know, for kid gimmick, you know, from this, he's definitely gonna have a joy buzzer that literally shocks people. A mini atomic pistol. You know, I'm trying to think of a spud gun. You know, the talking teeth. He's gonna throw teeth at people and they'll bite. You know, I'm trying to think of X-ray glasses. He's definitely gonna have X-ray glasses. You know, spy. You know, spy scopes. He's gonna have like itching powder. All of this stuff. All of this. Throw your voice. He's gonna have ventriloquism. Throw a fake chicken at people. I don't know. I think it's funny. And then we got the Daisy BB gun. And we got this back. And what is this even for? I've seen this a million times. I never really looked at prizes or cash. Sell greeting cards. Okay, so sell greeting cards. There you go. Sell greeting cards. Has anybody ever done that? What a waste of money some of these ads are. Like the LaSalle Extension Academy. Has anybody in the universe applied to the LaSalle Extension Academy based on the back of Defenders 14? So there we go. What a great cover. Marcus, what are you laughing at? I first read the Dark Phoenix saga as a trade paperback multiple times. It's what got me into the X-Men after the Teen Titans. How's that for serendipity? Yeah, okay. I figured most people probably read this in a trade paperback. Not everybody's an old like me. I've been around. I usually run into you on Yang's channel. Yang's a great guy. Say hello. Did support both patriarchs? Oh, thank you so much. Even wore my costume shirt on a stream. Oh, really? Oh, man. Let me know. Put it in the comments, you know, when the regular comments, not the chat. Wear it. I'll check it out. I'd love to see that. Thank you for buying the shirt. Thank you so much. Got plenty more. Got my King Fu hoodies. And there you go. Bunch of people watching. Where's Brittany? So here's the bag. I think I did get this in a not off the newsstand. I think I got this at the comic book store because it has a different bag. These crispy bags that I don't like. Too noisy. Marcus says he bought it off the newsstand. So again, here we are. We're done with the comic. Oh, so good. I mean, this is it. This is the apex of superhero comic books. You know, I say a lot of things, then people take me literally, but you know, it's conversation. You know, so I'm going to talk about. I'm going to get up my calendar, see what my schedule is for the week, as I hit the wrong button. Okay, so Tuesday at 7 p.m. I got Mark Polton. Oh, and this is streaming on Rumble. There we go. This is my very first Rumble stream. So right now I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. Let's see how that works out. Rumble, I can only set up one stream at a time. So since this was set up, I wasn't able to do the Avengers Assemble. So I want to see if I could take videos from YouTube and transfer them over to Rumble, because I just see like what's going on YouTube, and I would hate to lose like that Jim Shooter, Walt Simonson, Mark Miller interviews, you know, things like that. You know, and now I'm saying interviews when I keep telling people I don't interview people. I just have conversations with them. So Tuesday we got Mark Polton. Thursday we got John Dexter. Friday we have it's Clobbering Time, talking about alien civilizations. And Wednesday, of course, comic book team up with RJ. Now the only problem is there's a lot of overtime at work. We're doing 5 hours a night, so I don't know. I over this weekend I got a bunch of people asking me about coming on the channel, and I'm telling everybody this. I might not be streaming as much, you know, because man, I did 54 hours of overtime this week. It was awesome, you know. So I can't turn down this money. It's so nice. It's so nice. I'm going to say something I shouldn't be saying, but my paycheck was over $7,000 this week. And what I took home was significantly less than $7,000. I'm so mad. You know, I showed my wife the gross, and then I showed her the take up. Now, keep in mind, a lot of that goes into like my 401k, I got other savings, direct and a Roth IRA and all that stuff. But man, you know, I can't turn down that money. What year is this issue? I'm pretty sure I picked that one up off around 1980. That's a lot of story in just 17 pages. Comics had to cut down to 17 pages. Yeah, this is jam-packed. Every panel counts. Every panel. The story, this is on fire. This is perfect. Right? YouTube has been nuking real people for being inauthentic and boosting AI slop. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. OT is a blessing and a curse. Great for the pocketbook, horrible for the soul. I know, and I live in New York where because it's supposed to be that overtime is untaxed, right? Yeah, at some point the overtime is taxed to 50%. Yeah, I know. I'll never forget I was working 18 hours a day, and my pay in 1 week was $15,000, and I brought home $5,000. Still taking a $5,000 paycheck, but getting paid $15,000 and taking home $5,000. Oh my God, I was livid. I did that for 3 weeks, so that was nice. I mean, I put a lot of money in my 401k, you know. But man, livid. So there you go. I gave away way too much information, but man. Right. Now the feds don't tax overtime, but New York taxes everything. New York, they'll tax you for leaving. I think we tradesmen make too much for the no tax and overtime law. I saw a bunch of AI movie and comic review channels pop up. It's crazy. I know. And they all have that same soulless voice. You know, I'm not dumb. I know AI is the future. I know it. But doesn't mean I like it. You know, I'm officially a Luddite. So what else? Anybody Bueller? Let me take a sip of coffee. My goal today is to keep working on the Santa Claus script, because now I was in no rush to finish it because Renzo had so many projects ahead. But now Andres is going to draw it. So, and Andres is 2 pages away from finishing the project that he's working on right now. So I got to get him that script real fast. So that's right now, that is the writing priority. So what else? All right. The comments have seemed to have died. Stippling, how you doing? You can make any videos? So Marcus Stippling, how's the progress going on the art? Arkham, if you're watching. Luke, if you're watching. Secret Project guy, if you're watching. I was just talking to Secret Project guy yesterday. Oh my God, I'm dying. I want to show it off. I love the way the X-Men logo is being scrunched up. Yeah, I know. She's just smashing it. Now, yeah, I how did they do that? I guess did they hand draw it? Did they take like a image and then tweak with the image? I don't know. The voice is horrible. I have no problem with other AI tools, but that one narrative makes me instantly turn a video off. Whoever thought it was a good idea? Just record your own voice. Yeah, well, it's all lazy. It's all laziness. It's all lazy, and it's like one guy with like 500 YouTube channels. You know what I mean? And he spams all this stuff out, just like a certain author spams out novels, throws them on Amazon under different fake names. It's just a fishing game. Spend whatever 40 minutes doing something on. Like in one workday, you could get like 10 fake novels, throw them on Amazon. It costs you nothing. And then you rope a couple hundred people into buying each book, and just do that every day. You're going to make money, but you're not an author. You're not an author. You're a scam artist is what you are. And you know who you are. You're listening right now. I was teasing. I'm not making anybody, believe me, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I already hurt somebody's feelings at the beginning. I hurt PB's feelings. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. If I said something, it wouldn't be the first time I said things awkwardly and hurt people's feelings. I do it all the time. My wife, she's like, yeah, you hurt their feelings. You saw some I saw what on Friday? Oh yeah, your pages. Yes, it looked good. It looked so good. Looks like Alpha Core 2 fulfills tomorrow. Alpha Core 3 fulfills next week. I got to get some Chuck Dixon comics to look forward to. Well, I'm hoping that me and Chuck's comics, you'll be looking forward to that. Sci-fi horror. I just talked to Chuck. I spoil too much. I gotta stop spoiling. What's your take on fanfic of other properties? Can it be profitable? Well, it's by definition, fanfic can't be profitable, right? Fanfic is supposed to be, you write Harry Potter fanfic because you like Harry Potter, but you're not allowed to sell it. So my opinion on fanfic is make up your own characters. So you like Harry Potter, make up some magic characters that are similar to Harry Potter, but different. That way it's yours. Sitting in my basement writing stories about Phoenix and Cyclops and Colossus, it's kind of a waste of time, right? Make up your own characters. And I understand some people love, like the Harry Potter fan fiction is my wife used to write it. It's a thing. Star Trek fan fiction, whatever. Good. All right, that's fun, whatever. But make up your own characters, put a little bit whatever, and make your own stuff. Dave Brink's not making Avengers fan fiction. He's making his own comics. Do that. Who's your favorite old and new comic artist, John, and why? Are there similarities in anyone that blows away the old guard? Well, I'm at the risk of being self-congratulated, but Renzo's my favorite comic book artist right now. Powell Roderick over there at Genuine Comics. That guy is just crushing it. Andres that's working with me now, he's so good. I live in fear that Renzo and Andres that they're just going to be wooed away by guys who could pay better or guys with more exposure. And God bless them. You know what I mean? I don't want to hold anybody back. But Marcus, the pages he showed me for the public eye, and he knows exactly what I'm saying. They're wonderfully classically old fashioned. I just love it. It's the Public Eye is a tribute to Steve Ditko, and that's why when I drew the script, I'm like, Marcus has to draw this, and he understood the assignment. So I mean, as far as mainstream, Dan Mora, I just read. I just finished reading this. I was missing issue number 2, so I went back and I reread issue 1 to 5. I mean, he only does the covers, but man, he's such a good artist today. Who else? Who else is working today? Brian Bow. Brian Bow. Look at Wolf and Batsy. It's wonderfully reminiscent of like those EC comics. Oh my God, he's so good. He's so fun. And Josh Howard, I absolutely love Josh Howard. And I just saw this. I want to show this off. I'm looking for something so that's why it's a little weird right now. But this I'm looking forward to. This is my most anticipated comic. Okay, Fabrizio, if you're watching, forgive me, but I mean, not forgive me. But look at this. This is Fabrizio Aiello, the guy who's doing Horace H. Hoover. This is his next project, The Bone Saint. Oh my God, I can't wait. Look at this. Can I make it bigger? No, I cannot. Oh, I cannot make it bigger. But when a bounty is placed on the bones of saints, a guardian emerges to protect the ancient reliquaries. But a war approaches, one that may claim his family, his town, and his love. Coming in 2027 by Gloomy Wood Comics by Fabrizio Aiello, creator of Horace H. Hoover. Oh my God. I joked around that Horace H. Hoover was meant for me, but this, oh my God, Fabrizio, I can't wait. I mean, yes, finish Horace H. Hoover 5 and get this out. I can't wait. Such a great concept. And it's funny because on Twitter, a couple people are saying, "Oh, there's no more good ideas. That's why they race swap and stuff like that. That just means you're not thinking. Bone Saint. Oh my God, the name itself is so good. Can't wait. Fabrizio, I can't wait. It's my new favorite comic. I really like Will Conrad's style. Kanan White is another talented dude. Evan Scale has a great blend of Western and Eastern styles. Oh, well, yeah. Kanan White. He real good. Let me see if I could find something to show you. Speaking of Kanan White. Let's see. I might get in trouble for showing this, but nobody's watching this. But Kanan White drew the Patriarch. I didn't even know. He just made this big poster of all these indie comics, and he it's funny because the Patriarch was added there, and I was like, oh, cool. So I was talking to Aaron Sparrow, and Aaron Sparrow's like, oh yeah, you're in the poster. I'm like, what poster? Nobody told me, but everybody just assumed that I was cool with it, and I am cool with it. But then at the last minute, the poster got nixed. But there you go. Look at that. My character is in this aborted poster. Oh, if only. And I don't know if I was allowed to show that, but whatever. Without outing yourself or giving competition, what does it cost you to get the art done in one of your books? Are you paying per page, per panel, profit sharing? I'm paying per page. A couple of people are like, oh, how much does it cost to get Renzo to draw this, or how much does it cost to get Marcus? I don't reveal. I'm not their agent. I don't know if Renzo's giving me a good deal. I don't know if Marcus is giving me a good deal. I don't know if I'm joking around, but I don't know if Marcus is screwing me over and he's got cheaper rates for. That's what me and my artist negotiated is what me and my artist negotiated. So Like somebody just asked, can I get Renzo to draw a cover? I said, I'm not Renzo's boss. I'm not Renzo's handler. Here's Renzo's information. You contact him. And how much does he cost? I said, you talk to him. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to reveal that, but I'm not a slave master. If Renzo wants to work with you, Renzo works with you. If Andres wants to work with you, Stippling or Marcus, you know what I mean? And nor should I be. And if, the only thing I want is, finish what you started. And then if you want to work for somebody else, I'll miss you, man. I live in fear of if Renzo and these guys all working for somebody else, but whatever. So the point being is I pay per page. This is how it works. And Marcus could back me up. Arkham could back me up. I give you the script and I kind of give you a due date. With Arkham and Marcus, I said, whenever you want. With Stippling, I said, whenever you want, because those books aren't even on the schedule. And I said the same with Luke, whenever you want, because I have an order now. So whatever, and one guy, he said, when's the due date? And I said, whenever you want. And he was like, I need a due date. So I was like, okay. So I gave him a due date, even though it's whatever, there is no due date. But some people, I guess they need a time frame to plan, which is fine. But anyway, that's besides the point. So I give you the script. Then what Arkham and Marcus and Renzo and Andres and Stippling and all these guys have been doing is they send me an unfinished layouts and I approve it, or say this needs to be fixed or whatever. And then they come back wherever whatever their working speed is with the finished page. And that is great. Oh man, we got to fix this. Or, oh man, there's an error over here, whatever. But most of the time when I see like the early sample, most of the time it doesn't need to be fixed. Just once in a blue moon, whatever. And then it's finished. I have a folder. They have a link. They upload the folder, and I pay. I'm sure Marcus and Arkham and Stippling in the chat can confirm. I pay you instantly because I don't like to have bills over my head, and I don't want to get the reputation as the guy who tries to swindle you and needle you and whatever. So Renzo has said, like, I'm one of the easiest guys to work with. Now, as far as writing, Chuck Dixon, that's a whole nother thing. And I'm not going to, because, hey, Chuck did this for me and Chuck said that for me. So this is the first time I'm ever writing with somebody. So I don't know. A couple of people asked me to write. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I never even asked what the page is. I just was like, oh, cool. I'll do this. Just for the fun of it. But so the answer to your question, everybody's different. Everybody charges different. Some people charge a lot. Some people, don't charge enough. A couple of people said they're going to work for me for free. I was like, no, you're not. I can't in good conscience not pay you, that for two reasons. First off, that's just, if they're going to resent you after a while. Second off, then I just have to accept whatever they give me. It's free. I feel I don't have the right to correct it if they give me something for free. You know what I mean? So I feel that giving them a rate makes it more like, okay, we need to fix this. And second off, it's just jerky. It's just jerky to I'm going to put it in a comic book and make money off of it when somebody, because the artist spent so much time. I'm a writer and my, or as they say in CG, just a writer. And the artist spends more time with my script than I do. So I can't in good conscience just have a guy, because I had three people say, I like you, I want to work with you, and it's for free. And I'm like, no, it's not for free. It's not for free. I can't in good conscience not pay somebody. It's just not right. And then God forbid, no. Just imagine it's a hit. Let's aim for the stars. Let's imagine. Let's be children and imagine. Suppose it's a big hit and they're making a movie and stuff like that. And then this poor guy who made it good. I did that for free. You know what I mean? Nah, I couldn't live with myself. Couldn't live with myself. So there you go. Does that answer your question? So I'm always thinking about that when I write a page. Like I got to pay for this page. I got to pay for. I got to pay for the artist. I got to pay for the colorist. I got to pay for lettering. I got to pay for printing. You know what I mean? One page doesn't really add to the weight of a comic book, but it does add to the price of printing. A 20-page comic book is a lot cheaper to print than a 40-page comic book. So all of that, I have to keep that in mind. So does that answer your question? Wow, a lot of comments. I thought I was done. That's pretty cool. Hey, Monomakis, how you doing? Oh, Garfield, how you doing, Garfield, buddy? How's everything? I think Powell posted his rates. Oh, okay. Well, that's the artist. That's the artist. I don't, like a couple of people ask me, what does Renzo charge you? I'm thinking, I talk to Renzo. I'm not Renzo's agent. You know what I mean? We don't have an exclusive contract. Like I could afford to put anybody on an exclusive contract. You know what I mean? So I do have this fear. Renzo, it's only matter. He's too good. Monomakis. Does it seem like your artists are just as excited about your project as you, more or less? Fortunately, I think they seem to be very excited. Very excited. I mean, I'm trying to think of my biggest artist is Renzo. Everybody else is newbies. Renzo's been working 10 years in comic books. I'm lucky that he's working with me. I am absolutely lucky that he's working with me. And he's also worked with Aaron Sparrow, and Aaron Sparrow's kind of a big deal. The guy wrote Darkwing Duck. He works in animation. He's got his own comic book that did pretty good. You know what I mean? So I'm lucky that and I do know, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. Renzo worked with a few people that he said he's never working with them again. They were just, because Renzo right now he's working with RJ for the Fourth Age. He's doing Thomas Valiant. He's doing Aaron Sparrow's Doomface, and he's working with me. But there's a couple of people that he worked with that he was just like, I can't work with you because they literally change. Like their script was so poorly written that Renzo drew what he thought was in the script. And then when they saw it, they're like, no. And he's like, but that's what it says. And he said he was redoing pages like 3 or 4 times and then getting one page right. He's got kids. So, that was when the early days when we started working together. That was before me. So that really made me think I got to be as precise as possible. And we got Arco, we got Stippling, and we got Marcus in the chat. All my scripts clear enough? Like, it's like I don't think I've ever told Marcus you got to redraw that. That doesn't look right. Like I had the only problem with Marcus is I had an idea and I asked him to add something after the fact, and he was cool with it. Arkham is drawing almost exactly what I picture, and some of the things I couldn't even possibly picture. That page 14. Oh my God, Marcus! I mean, Arkham, so good. And the only thing with Arkham is I just asked him to fix up some storytelling, and Stippling, the page you showed me, man, I'm like chomping at the bit to see more. It's so good. So I'm lucky. And I asked them. I got 3 of my artists in the chat. Are you guys excited? Because I just wish I could accelerate and get more out. Because I'm sitting on something like 15 scripts right now. You know what I mean? 7 of which are being worked on. So there's 8 more. But I can't afford to hire more artists. Like right now, like Luke is just about to be done. So I don't have to lay out money for art anymore. He's got 1 more page. He even did the cover. So when he's done, maybe I could do another artist. You know what I mean? Maybe. But I kind of like the guys that I got. I kind of want the guys that I got right now to do these other scripts. So that I tried out 2 other artists, and I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to. It just didn't work out. One of them I think was a scammer. I think he used AI, and I think he took art from other people and put it on his page, and it was cool manga looking, and I was gonna do him for the Christmas story, and then the pages that he handed in, I was just like, this is unacceptable. You know, and look, so this is how I know it was a scam, because I did the same with Andres, and I said, draw one page. And Marcus will tell you, I did the same thing. This is a tryout. Draw one page. I'll pay you for the one page, because who am I trying out for me for free? I'm not Marvel. I'm not DC. So they drew one page, and I'll hire you based on that. This person did the layouts for the whole story. And I'm like, that's not what we agreed on. That's not what we agreed on. And then I said, do the one page, and then do the one page. And it was awful. I said, that's not even in the same style that's on your, that you showed me. Oh, okay. Well, and then he goes, well, I had a cold and blah, blah. I said, this isn't going to work out. And then it was in a panic, because this isn't the Christmas special. And then Oscar, to my rescue, showed me Andres, and oh my God, it's surpassing my wildest dream. Like, matter of fact, I'm going to show something now, because I can't help. It's funny because Brian's like, you spoil everything. I can't help it. I'm a jerk like that, but I'm excited. But this is okay. I'm going to show this. Why is it not okay? This is unfinished pencils to the cover to the Patriarch story, Christmas Magic. That is so good. And this is funny because Andres drew the first page. It's glorious. It's glorious. It's so good. I mean, Renzo's art, the King Fu art, you've seen. I've been spoiled. The King Fu art is so freaking good. And then Andres' art, that I think I showed the one page that he's finished with, and then I said, we got to do the cover so we could launch the campaign. And he goes, what do you want? I said, oh, okay, it's a Christmas story. So they'll be in the living room. We got the Christmas tree with all the kids and the family and the wife. They're all sitting around the Christmas tree. And then in the back window, you can see Santa and the reindeer. He goes, okay, I got it. And then he sends me this, nothing like I described. It is so freaking good. It's so freaking good. He asked suggestion, said, nah, but he's the artist. I usually give the artist a lot of freedom for the covers, unless I'm dying, for Patriarch #1, Renzo's doing the main cover and Renzo's doing the variant. And I told him the variant, this is what I want for the variant. And now he's going to go back and do whatever he wants for the cover. But, it's amazing he pays right away. I don't demand it. Yeah, right away. I don't want, because then it's done. It's done. It's paid for. It's over with. I don't have to think about it anymore. You know what I mean? And then, because Marcus's story is probably going to be, even if he was finished tomorrow, it won't be in a comic for like a year. Then it's like I got a free comic in a year is the way I think of it. You know what I mean? It's already paid for. Yeah, don't work for free. Don't work for free. I agree. And it's funny because like I had 3 artists that offered to work for free for me. One of them disappeared halfway through a story, driving me nuts. And it was so good. So good. And I'm like, dude, I'll pay you. I'll pay you. He was the first one who said for free. And he's the reason why I changed my policy. I can't because, whatever. But where'd you go? I know he's alive. I guess the question is better directed at you, Marcus. Do you have projects you get more excited about than others? Ever feel you're hounding a writer just because you want to draw more? I wish. If they're not you, just need to ask. I don't quite understand. Wait till you see the spread. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Arkham is drawing a 2-page spread. I can't wait. It's so good. And Arkham is the first-time comic book artist. I know he's did illustration. I know he's done special effects. I know he's done art in his past. And I've seen his doodles, and that I was like, oh my God, that is perfect for what I'm looking for. That is perfect for what I'm looking for. And I sent him a script, and he's banging it out. You know, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but this is the first time he's ever drawn a comic book before. So I'm probably working more closely with Arkham than I am with anybody else. But if I'm busting your chops, Arkham, it's not on purpose. Wow, 8 more. That's great. All the same book series are branching out. Everything is in the Heroic Tales universe, except for the story that I'm writing with Chuck Dixon. The Chuck Dixon is set in the Dark Space universe. That's something Tonic Bowl of Saving the Universe came up with. And I thought of the story before I talked with Tonic Bowl, and then when he said he wants to do Dark Space, and he came up with the setting, and he wants others to submit. So kind of like, we all submit, and it's called Dark Space. And I loved it. I loved it. So I was like, I got a story that, and I told him the premise, and he's like, that's perfect. So I just asked him, what are the rules? I don't want to, he came up with the setting, and it turned out that my story fit perfectly within his rules because I didn't do any world building. It's just self-contained on a ship. And then I came up with a vigilante character that I'm not going to talk about just yet because I'm still working out the details, but a vigilante, like a Punisher type character. My Raven is like a Batman character. He's not a Punisher character. Although the Raven has no problems killing anybody. But, I'm talking like a gun-wielding, fight drug dealers, execute drug dealers on the street kind of character. And I was like, this is a Chuck Dixon character. So I reached out. I was like, hey, because I know Chuck worked for your boy Zach. So I was like, I wonder if I can afford him. So I asked Chuck what his page rates were. He never answered. He never told me what his page rates are. But he said, I don't want to, because I do so many vigilante characters. I got my own ideas for vigilante characters. And I was like, okay. So then he said something that surprised me. He said, what else you got? So I pitched him my Western story, which will also be in the Heroic Tales universe. My vigilante stories in the Heroic Tales universe, and the vigilantes in my universe, the Western, and he was just like, I got 3 Westerns going on right now. What else you got? I'm like, oh man. So I pitched my Dark Space story, and then I didn't hear from him. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, that was my. He was gracious enough, to extend me the courtesy of a conversation. He's got work to do. Then the next day, I got an email. I love it. And an attached file with 6 pages that he already started. So I was like, oh no, what if he's charging $1,000 a page? You know what I mean? And now I owe Chuck Dixon $6,000. I don't know. So I was like, oh, I was excited. I was nervous and scared all at once. I was like, oh. So I wrote back immediately. I was like, what are you charging? How much do I owe you? What's going on? And again, I don't want to tell the deals, but Chuck is the best. Let's just say that Chuck is the best. So he said, who's going to draw this? And Renzo was there for me from the beginning. So no offense to anybody else, no disrespect to anybody else, but I wouldn't be here without Renzo. So Renzo gets right of first refusal on all my projects. So I called him. I called him on the phone. And I was like, hey, Renzo, I'm working with Chuck Dixon. He goes, yes. So there you go. So as far as I'm concerned, and as far as Chuck's concerned, me, Chuck, and Renzo are going to own this story. And it's not Heroic Tales. Anything I work with another writer is not going to be in my universe as of now, but I'm not. Once I get more of the universe out there and people understand what I'm doing, I would love a Dave Brink story in my world, But as of right now, I don't need another writer to do my super. Even though hypocritical as it sounds, I was looking at Chuck Dixon for the vigilante story. Yes, I get excited by a project. With a full-time job, it's hard for me to do multiple projects. John is a millionaire. I don't think I have to have. Yeah, I already. It's funny because I wrote down a list of paper, and I'm not going to show it on screen. Public Eyes Rogues Gallery. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is about this character, but I came up with 1 million villains. for this guy. I have an idea. I know how it's going to end. So I have an ending for the public eye. I have a beginning, obviously. The middle part is the unknown, but I have bad guys for him. I have a whole bunch of bad guys lined up for him. For some reason, the bad guys for the public eye they're just leaping out at me. The Raven, I got a whole rogues gallery for the Raven, and not one story yet. Ron Mosicki is halfway through drawing the third Raven story. He won. I was like, he drew the suit, and you got to see his art got so much better. I liked it. The suit, it's phenomenal in his Raven story. So I asked him, do you want to do one? And he's like, I'm done with comics. I'm working in a business now. I own my own business. I got kids. I was like, I'm going to send you the script, and if you like it, take your time, because it's going to be the third Raven story. And Renzo didn't even start drawing the first one yet, because Renzo loves the Raven, and I promised him he would get the first Raven. Like I said, Renzo gets right of first refusal. So Ron loved the story, and he was like, "Can I take your time? Take your time. And that's the way we're working on that. But for whatever reason, Raven and Public Eye, I can't stop thinking of villains. You know who's the hardest to come up with villains for? The Patriarch. Oh my God, I can't think of villains for the Patriarch. I have like 3 villains. I have, you know what I mean? But like, it's so freaking hard. I don't know what it is about the Patriarch. It's hard. Mary Sue. I don't have any more villains for Mary Sue. I got to come up with some Mary Sue villains. Pencils Inc. So for Pencils and Inks are all the same artist. Pencils and Inks are all the same artist. Renzo inks himself. Marcus inks himself. Stippling inks himself. Arkham inks himself. Yeah. So, but Oscar is my main colorist. Daniel colored the 2 Patriarch stories that existed, but he doesn't respond. He takes months. I think Arkham is because Daniel is going to color the Mythman, which is Arkham's story, and he's also going to color Stipling's the Printer's Devil. And he has 9 pages of Arkham story already, and he did the flats for the first. And I haven't heard from him in 3 months. Now I'm not busting his chops, because, like I said, even if he was done right now, it wouldn't be out. But like, Daniel, you got respond to emails. I pencil and ink, but I don't letter. Yep, I'm happy with Bill Williams. Bill Williams, great letterer. He does Punchline comics. Not at all. I'm a noob, and I guess to do comic. Yeah, good. As long as I'm not busting. I don't want to bust these. And that's another thing I do is on Fridays I send out emails. How you doing? Only Fridays, unless something is drastic. I only because I don't want to be a pest either. And if you didn't get an email on Friday, it's because everything's cool. But whatever. How do you go about writing for a graphic novel? Is it more like writing a screenplay, lots of storyboards, or you're writing for each individual panel with lots of description? People ask, first off, I'm nobody. I got 2 comic books out. You know what I mean? Some people tell you they're terrible. Some people tell you they're okay. I think they're okay. But how do I write? So what I do is I daydream. I daydream about the story, and I go over and over and over in my head all day at work. I just daydream. And then I think about, when do I need to write this? So I have an order. And sometimes I just I got to get this done. Just because it's burned into my head. So I write that script. But like right now, I got to finish the Santa Claus script, because Andres is 3 or 4 pages away from needing a new script. So that sets a priority. I have a story. Like right now, there's no need to write the second Public Eye story, even though I have it planned in my head. So They're floating around in my brain, floating around in my brain. And the funny thing is, if I can't remember the story, then it wasn't that important. So that's like one of my filters. Okay, now it's time to write it. I won't write the story until I got the opening scene. I need an opening scene. And then I tell myself, I'm just going to write the opening scene, the opening page, the opening 2 pages. And next thing you know, I'm writing half the comic. Now, how do I know how many panels it needs? How do I know how many pages? I don't until I'm actually writing it. And it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. I read all the comic book books that tell you how to write a comic book. I read the Will Eisner book, and then 40 years of reading comic books. I don't know. It's just I just wing it. I just do it. And you guys tell me if I'm doing it right. I don't know. I'd like to think I'm doing it right. I'm open to criticism. I got some pretty harsh criticism. One of my friends gave me the harshest criticism ever. And he didn't want to make it a public video because he thought it would hurt my feelings. And I was like, no, you're absolutely right. I didn't think of that. A couple of my enemies gave me constructive criticism. I think they were trying to hurt me, but the criticism was actually pretty helpful, So I don't know. How do I go about writing? I daydream. And then when I get and then does it need to be written now? Like sometimes like this one story, A Trick Before Dying, I had to, just something compelled me and I had to get it out, even though it's not on the slate, if that makes sense. It's and I want Renzo to draw it. So it's like the 6th in line for Renzo to draw, but I had to write it. Stippling Vaughn reached out to me and said, I want to work with you. So I was like, okay, let me write a script. So an idea that was loosely floating in my head, I just bumped it up the line and wrote a script for him. Matt Baer asked me for a script, for one of his books. So I jumped ahead of the line. That's besides the point. It's I've never written a screenplay. Well, I did read a screenplay in college. I had to write a screenplay for a class. Graphic novel is just a big comic story, but I don't draw. What I do is I'll draw rough character, like the patriarch. I drew a picture of the patriarch in my disgusting, horrible art, and I sent it to Renzo. I don't think I drew for the public eye, Marcus. I don't think I but he was easy enough to describe. He looks like the Question, but his face has an eyeball on it instead. So and he carries a magnifying glass. So and then Marcus drew it. The printer's devil, I think I described. I don't think I drew. Oh yeah, I did draw. I did draw that, sent to Stippling. And Mythman and Fable, I think I drew. Right? Did I draw them, Arkham, and send you a terrible drawing? But that's what I'll do. I'll draw pictures of the characters. I like designing the costumes. It's fun, and I kind of have an image in my head. But whatever. Yeah, I didn't draw the public eye. He was easy to describe, right? He was easy to describe. And you what you draw, Marcus, is exactly what I pictured in my head. It's great. It's so good. I'm so excited. Yeah, Arkham, I did send you a pic, and then you took my horrible drawings and you made that awesome. Let me see if I could find your cover. I know we talk a lot, so it's probably way up there in the. Yeah, everything's loading, but yeah, you drew it so good. Yes, yeah. So I used it to inspire. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a tyrant, I don't think. Like Andres, he asked me what he wanted for the cover. I told him one concept, and he disregarded it and drew something even better. For Patriarch #1, I told Renzo, whatever you think. I said, you're the art. My rules for the artist, for the covers, are the interior artist does the cover. If I hire somebody to do a variant cover, that's the variant. You know what I mean? Like Jose Garcia Lopez, Jose Garcia Lopez is the DC guy, but he did the variant for Heroic Tales 2. It's, but I let people know he's not the interior artist, So the interior artist gets the main cover. So Marcus will be doing the cover for Public Eye. Stippling will be doing the cover for The Printer's Devil. Arkham will be doing the cover and he already did the cover for his story. That's the way, and it has to have something to do with the interior. It's not going to be the Public Eye fighting a giant dinosaur on Jupiter when he's in Science City solving a mundane crime. You know what I mean? I don't like that. So those are my two rules. The interior artist gets the main cover, and it has to have something like this has something to do with the inside. I don't like that DC or that modern Marvel stuff where it's just a portfolio piece. Like you'll have a Spider-Man comic book with the Black Widow on the cover when she's not in. So, and at the risk of giving out too much information, Nick from Phoenix Press asked if he could have the Patriarch and Screecher and do like a promo poster, like as a stretch goal. And I said, yeah, sure. I said, my only criteria is like make it like a Brave and a Bold, like a Superman, Batman kind of thing. And he goes, oh, that's exactly what I wanted. So that was cool. And then he's like, okay, it's going to be the variant cover. And I said, no, it's not going to be a cover because to me that's misleading. The Patriarch's not in the comic, so I don't want it to be a cover. And he was like, that's cool. That's cool. So it's going to be like a promo poster or something like that for a stretch goal for his book. I got no, that's fine. That's fine. You want the Patriarch as an extra, like I did that Go-Getter with NDA Andrew and Vaughn Coleman. I wouldn't want it to be a cover of a comic because it's not in. Yeah, and that's funny because now I'm writing a Go-Getter story because I did the same thing with King Fu. People reacted to King Fu, so I bumped up the King. Like I pushed back Patriarch #1 to work on King Fu. And now I'm talking too much. You can tell the coffee. If you go back and watch the beginning of this video, you'll see how I was like, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, a lot of comments. So I probably told way too much information, but that's me. Get me talking. The secret project, though. I just keep hinting that there is a secret project, but I'm really good because the artist is adamant that I don't talk about it, but I still do because I'm a bad person. But I won't spoil it. I promise. I made a promise. I don't know what else to say. I'm still looking for Arkham's cover, but my computer's real slow. I know this computer's dying, and I'm not. Oh, here we go. Okay, I just found it, just as I had given up hope. But look at this. Look at what is going on. Oh, I thought I just ended the stream. Look at that. Look at that. That is awesome. That is the only correction. And I just feel so bad because I keep, but in the original drawing, the spear was horizontal, and I think the tip was off the pattern. I said, no, you got to see the spearhead, So he changed. Look at that. Look at that. It's so good. I can't stop looking at it. And I didn't tell him to draw the cover. I didn't tell, because, he just said, I'm going to start working on the cover. I was like, all right. That is just awesome. Tell me you don't want that comic book. I can't wait to see it colored. Oh, my God. It's so good. I'm lucky. I'm happy. So there you go. Anything else? It looks like the conversation winded down, and it's 2 hours. So you know what? I'm going to get while the getting's good. Thank you, everybody. Again, I just asked for some patience because I'm going to be working a lot of overtime in the next couple of weeks. So, every stream is a suggestion at this point. And just checking if there's any comments. No, there's not. All right. Goodbye, kids.